7 days in Greece sounds like enough. It isn't, unless you know exactly what you're doing with them. The problem isn't the country. Greece is compact enough that a week can cover real ground. The problem is how most people allocate those 7 days. They spend too long in Athens because they're not sure what to do there, rush the islands because they booked too many, and arrive home having seen a version of Greece that felt slightly too fast and slightly too shallow to have been what they came for. They didn't waste their trip. They wasted their planning. This itinerary is built around one principle. Every day has to earn its place. No buffer days disguised as rest. No logistical waste dressed up as flexibility. 7 days in Greece, used correctly, can deliver Athens at its best. A ferry crossing worth the journey. 2 islands that feel nothing like each other, and at least one afternoon that will take a long time to stop thinking about. Here's how it works. You arrive in Athens and you do not, under any circumstances, treat it as a waiting room for the islands. This is the first and most consequential decision of the trip. Athens is not the preamble. Athens is the argument, the place that explains everything that comes after, the city that puts the ruins and the islands and the blue dome churches into a context that makes them mean something rather than just look extraordinary. Day 1 is for landing and the neighborhood, not the Acropolis. That comes tomorrow, when you're rested and the light is right. Day 1 is for dropping your bags in Kakaki or Monastiraki, walking until you find a place that doesn't have a host outside trying to seat you, eating something small and unreasonably good, and beginning to understand that Athens operates at a pace and a register that rewards attention. The city is louder and more chaotic and more beautiful than most people expect, and the first evening is for letting that land without trying to organize it into anything useful yet. Day 2 begins early. The Acropolis opens at 8 and the tour groups arrive at 10, which means there is a 2-hour window in which the most visited ancient site in the world is quiet enough to actually think inside. Go at 8. Bring water. Take the Propolia slowly. Stand inside the Parthenon sightline and understand that what you are looking at was built in the 5th century BC by a civilization that was, at that moment, inventing democracy, tragedy, philosophy, and the architectural principles that would shape every significant building in the Western world for the next 2,500 years. This is not hyperbole. This is what the place is. Giving it 45 minutes to say you've been is the single most common waste in European travel. Come down from the hill by mid-morning and walk to the Acropolis Museum, which is directly below and is one of the best designed museums in the world. A building with a glass floor through which you can see the ancient ruins it was built above, containing the sculptures and friezes that once covered the Parthenon in a presentation that makes the context of each piece completely clear. This is where the morning goes. Let it. The afternoon of day 2 belongs to the neighborhoods. Plaka for the architecture, Monastiraki for the flea market and the coffee, Syrai for lunch at a place with no English menu where you point at the tray behind the counter and accept what arrives. By early evening, you will have developed the first working theory of what Athens actually is, which is different from what you expected and better in ways that are hard to articulate but easy to feel. Day 3 is the day most itineraries waste, and this one doesn't. Take the morning train to the port of Piraeus and the high-speed ferry to Naxos. The crossing takes about 3.5 hours on the fast boat and the Aegean in the morning, with the islands emerging from haze as you move through them, is one of those transit experiences that justifies itself entirely. Naxos is the largest of the Cycladic islands and the least famous of the ones worth visiting, which makes it almost exactly right for this itinerary. Most people go to Mykonos or Santorini because those are the names they know. Mykonos is a luxury product that happens to be located on a beautiful island. Santorini is genuinely extraordinary and genuinely overrun in peak season in ways that require real planning to navigate. Naxos is neither of those things. It is larger and greener than most Cycladic islands, has a medieval hilltop town, the Castro, that functions as an actual living community rather than a boutique backdrop, produces its own food in a way that almost no other Cycladic island does, and has beaches on its western coast that are among the best in Greece and are not, in any meaningful sense, crowded. Day 3 ends in Naxos town. Dinner somewhere in the Castro, uphill from the port, where the streets are narrow enough that two people can barely pass and the cats outnumber the tourists, and the food coming out of the small kitchens is the kind of thing that makes the resort version of Greek cuisine feel like a misunderstanding. Day 4 is for the island itself, and it should have almost no agenda. Rent a car or a scooter in the morning. Naxos has enough interior to make this worthwhile, and drive toward Hockey, the island's old capital, which sits in a valley of olive groves and citrus trees and operates at a pace that has very little to do with the tourism cycle happening on the coast. There is a distillery in Hockey that produces citron, a liqueur made from the leaves of the citron tree that exists almost nowhere else in the world. There is a Byzantine church with a fresco program that has been there for 900 years. There is a cafe in the square where the afternoon can go entirely without resistance. Come back to the coast in the late afternoon and swim. The water on Naxos's western beaches, Agios Prokopios, Agia Anna, Plaka, is the Aegean at its clearest, and the light between 5 and 7 in the evening does things to the surface that no photograph has ever fully captured. This is the afternoon that will take a long time to stop thinking about. It doesn't require anything except being there. Day 5 is a ferry day, and the ferry goes to Santorini. This is not a contradiction of anything said earlier about Santorini being crowded. Santorini in peak season is crowded. The solution is not to avoid it, it is to use it correctly, which means understanding that the island has two versions of itself, and you want the second one. The first version is Oahe at sunset, the cable car queue, the restaurants directly on the caldera rim with the 4-language menus and the €40 pasta. That version is real, and it will find you without any effort on your part. The second version is Santorini at 7 in the morning, when the day trippers from the cruise ships haven't arrived yet, and the light on the white walls is completely different from the high sun version, and the caldera is quiet enough that you can hear water. That version requires only an alarm. Arrive in Ferry on the afternoon ferry, and take the late afternoon to walk the caldera path from Ferry to Oahe, about 10 kilometers, 2.5 to 3 hours, with the sea to your left the entire way and the island opening up gradually as you move north.
Do not take a donkey. Do not take the cable car.
Walk the path. The Oahe sunset from the castle ruins at the north end of the walk, after you've arrived on foot, is a different experience from the Oahe sunset from a terrace bar. One feels like something you earned. The other feels like something you bought. Day 6 belongs entirely to Santorini's second layer, which most visitors never find because they spend day 1 doing the famous things and day 2 recovering from day 1. The volcanic beaches are in the south of the island, and they are unlike anything else in the Aegean. The red sand beach at Acropolis and the black sand at Parisa are not interchangeable with every other Greek beach. They are the visible evidence of a geological event. The Minoan eruption of roughly 1600 BC, one of the largest volcanic eruptions in human history, which destroyed a Bronze Age civilization and may have contributed to the collapse of the Minoan culture on Crete. Acropolis, the archaeological site buried under volcanic ash like a Cycladic Pompeii, is 15 minutes from the beach and contains a preserved Bronze Age town that is extraordinary and visited by a fraction of the people who come to the island for sunsets and wine. The local wine deserves mention because it is genuinely strange and genuinely excellent. Santorini's vines grow in volcanic soil using a training method unique to the island, coiled low to the ground to protect against the wind, and produce an Assyrtiko that is unlike any other white wine in Greece. The wineries in the island's interior, away from the caldera view restaurants, pour it properly and at reasonable prices, and are largely empty by comparison. Go in the afternoon. Take the tasting seriously. Day 7 is the return, and the return should be done right. The ferry back to Athens from Santorini takes between 4 and 8 hours depending on the route and the boat, and the fast ferry gets you into Piraeus with enough afternoon left to use. Go back to Athens. Not to the airport, to the city. Have a late lunch in Monastiraki. Walk back through Plaka. Buy something from a shop that was there before you arrived, and will be there long after you leave. The temptation on the last day is to treat it as transit. Resist it. Athens on the last day, seen through the eyes of someone who has spent a week in the country rather than arriving fresh off a plane, is a different city from the Athens of day 1. The Acropolis visible on the hill from the cafe table is not a landmark anymore. It is a place you went. The context has shifted. The city has a different weight. 7 days in Greece, done this way, does not feel like 7 days. It feels like the beginning of understanding a country that will keep offering more depth for as long as you keep coming back for it. The itinerary works not because it covers everything. It doesn't, and it shouldn't try to, but because every day is doing something specific and nothing is wasted. That is the only way to use 7 days in Greece. Anything less deliberate, and you leave having seen it. Anything more deliberate, and you leave having been there. The difference between those two things is the whole point. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, smash that like button and subscribe to When to Travel. We're all about helping you make smarter travel decisions. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And hey, if you think your friends need this, share it. Comment below with your next destination or your biggest travel question. I'm reading all of them. Let's go.